Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news, a child shoots and kills another child. We're live on that scene with what neighbors say they heard.
And bond increase within the last 20 minutes. 2 men charged with the disappearance of a Harnett County teenager faced the judge. What our crew heard in the courtroom.
And out on the weather patio, it's comfortably cool right now, but we're about to go on a weather roller coaster this weekend.
We begin with breaking news in Vance County, where a child has shot and killed another child. This is at Green Street and Gary Street in Henderson.
Sky 5 is over the scene right now. You can see it is a very active scene. There are a lot of police tape up. Monica Casey is live there.
Yeah, Monica, what can you tell us about this investigation so far?
Well, what we know right now is that police got a call around 9:30 this morning for a gunshot wound. And when first responders arrived here, they found a child who had been shot inside their home. We are on the intersection of Green and Gary Streets here in Henderson. The investigation has been focused on this gray home here behind me. Police say this happened inside the child's home. Another child accessed an unsecured gun and fired it, hitting that victim. Neighbors here tell me they heard screaming. They saw a mom come out holding that child in her arms, and we do know that child has died. Police say they have recovered that firearm and other evidence, and they'll be consulting with the district attorney's office on how to handle this case. Still a lot of moving parts, ongoing investigation here. You can see they have this entire street blocked off, and it's been this way for about 2.5 hours now. We have not seen this presence diminished at all, so still a lot of moving parts here on this scene in Henderson. Live in Vance County, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
Such a tragedy there, Monica. Thank you. And switching gears here, sunny skies and mild temperatures today. Our next front rolls in this weekend with some big temperature swings. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is on the WRAL patio with a look at when you'll need the coat. Elizabeth.
Yeah, it's comfortably cool out here. I have short sleeves on, so I'm happy in my jacket still, even though it's kind of borderline. I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to take it off or not. We take a live look at Fenton and Cary, and just beautiful. Lots of sunshine, some high, thin cloud cover out here right now, which is keeping our temperatures warming up very quickly. Also, our wind has shifted to northwesterly. That's also going to keep our temperature much cooler than it was yesterday. Right now, we're sitting at 58 degrees. It's nice and comfortable out here with a dew point of 26. A little bit breezy. We're going to see some winds gusting maybe up to 15 to 20 miles per hour. And with the dry conditions, a low dew point, there is higher fire danger today. Something to think about if you're planning to do any outdoor burning later on today. 59 is our normal high, and so we're just above that today at 63. Tomorrow, we jump back to 74, and then we're just going to flip the numbers around and drop down to 47 on Sunday. That's all because of a front that's coming through. It's not going to bring us any rain, but it may make for some windy conditions for us on Saturday night. Also, with that front, our morning lows will drop too. So 31 on Sunday morning, 27 on Monday morning. We are not finished with cold temperatures, this time of year, certainly. We do start March tomorrow, and Saturday really looks like a lovely day to be outside, maybe just a touch breezy. But Sunday, you're going to need jacket, coat, sweater, that sort of thing. I'll show you when we get back to another chance for some scattered showers and storms coming up.
Thanks, Elizabeth. In Harnett County, 2 men linked to an Amber Alert appeared in court just a short time ago. Austin Cole and Elihu Mahler faced a list of charges in connection with the disappearance of a 15-year-old girl. WRAL's Sean Gallagher was inside the courtroom for today's hearing. Sean, what did you learn?
Yeah, Jeff, the judge increased the bond for both men significantly. Elihu Mahler was increased from $1.5 million to $5 million, and Austin Cole from $1 million up to $5 million. That's important because it shows that the court views them as a potential flight risk and also the severity of the charges against them. But we also learned a little more detail about what happened over the course of this week. The 2 men were brought out separately, with Elihu Mahler saying he plans to represent himself. The district attorney says Mahler picked up the 15-year-old girl and took her to Virginia Beach before returning with her to North Carolina. According to the DA, the plan was to hand her over to Austin Cole and Kitty Hawk, with plans for the two to engage in sex. Now, the girl's family and the district attorney both declined to comment after the hearing today, and both men are due back in court here in Harnett County on March 11th. In Harnett County, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, President Trump today signing an executive order declaring English as the official language of the United States. So what does this really mean? Well, for one thing, government agencies can decide whether they want to issue documents in languages other than English, and it reverses a Clinton-era mandate requiring federal agencies to provide language assistance to non-English speakers. We should note that more than 350 languages are spoken all across the U.S., but this is the first time the federal government is declaring English as the official language.
If your morning commute takes you along westbound I-440 at New Bern past Wake Forest Road, you're probably wondering why your drive took longer than usual. Here's the answer. Sky 5 flew over the scene of an accident at Wake Forest Road around 8 o'clock this morning. Backup stretched all the way to New Bern Avenue. Police blocked 2 lanes of traffic while tow trucks removed the damaged vehicles. No word on a cause or injuries at this hour. And Raleigh police say a driver fell asleep at the wheel and struck a power pole, knocking out about power to 50 customers. It happened around 6 o'clock this morning, less than 4 miles from RDU International. This was the scene in the westbound lanes of Globe Road near Briar Creek. The driver was taken to the hospital with minor injuries. No word on any charges.
The man accused of killing Wake County Deputy Ned Byrd is back in the United States. The sheriff's office announced late last night Alder Marin Sotelo has been extradited from Mexico to be tried for murder. He's due in court Monday. Martin Sotelo was indicted on first-degree murder charges in August of 2022, and then he fled the country. A trial date is still being set. And we're working to learn more about the person who was injured this morning outside a McDonald's restaurant. Sky 5 flew over the scene on Trawick Road around 7:15 this morning. A person was lying in the drive-through lane, surrounded by EMS and other emergency personnel. That person was loaded onto an ambulance, and WRAL News is working to learn the condition of that person and how they were injured.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, new information about a pedestrian struck in Fayetteville. Here's the information that we've gleaned from the press release that came out just about an hour ago. Police say 69-year-old Timothy Hinton died from his injuries after he was hit by a car while crossing the street in the intersection of Owen Drive and Nato Road. We've really highlighted right there for you on the screen. Police say Hinton was wearing dark-colored clothing when the incident happened. We're told the driver stayed at the scene and is cooperating with investigators. We're also working with investigators to determine if any charges will be filed in this case.
Thank you, Ken. President Trump is set for his first face-to-face meeting with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky later today. Trump held critical talks earlier this week with French President Emmanuel Macron and British Prime Minister Keir Starmer ahead of today's meeting. NBC's Garrett Hake explains what we can expect.
President Trump set to meet face-to-face with Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky this morning as he tries to broker a deal to end the war in Ukraine.
I think it's moving along pretty rapidly. It'll either be fairly soon or it won't be at all.
The two presidents set to sign a deal giving the U.S. access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals, designed to pay back billions in American aid to Ukraine. In recent days, President Trump making combative comments about Zelensky, including calling him a dictator. Trump hosting British Prime Minister Keir Starmer at the White House Thursday, backpedaling when asked if he stands by that attack on Zelensky.
Did I say that? I can't believe I said that.
Later, raising expectations for today's sit-down.
We're going to get along really well, okay? We have a lot of respect. I have a lot of respect for him.
Starmer praising the president's efforts while urging him not to reward Russia in any deal.
It can't be peace that rewards the aggressor.
And telling Lester Holt if there is a deal, the UK and European allies will help bolster Ukraine's security, including with British troops if necessary.
I do think that it's important that European countries play a leading part in any security guarantees.
Meanwhile, President Trump's effort to slash the federal workforce is meeting new resistance. Late Thursday, a federal judge ordered the Office of Personnel Management to rescind its memo calling on agencies to fire probationary employees, but not calling for the reinstatement of the terminated workers. The latest cuts at NOAA, which includes the National Weather Service and works on everything from forecasts and information for farmers to monitoring dangerous weather like fires and hurricanes. An administration official says the agency has laid off around 600 people while sparing staffers with, quote, mission-critical functions. At the former headquarters of USAID, an emotional exodus. Recently fired workers given just 15 minutes to clear out their desks. including communications specialist Ben Thompson, who blasted the cuts, spearheaded by Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency.
He's tearing down our institutions for fun. It's a game. It's not public service.
And that was Garrett Hake reporting. Taking a look right now at Wall Street. Dow Jones up 165 points at this hour. S&P 500 up about 19 points. This all comes after President Trump says that Mexico and Canada tariffs will start on March 4th next week, plus an additional 10% on China as well.
Tomorrow, the North Carolina Education Lottery kicks off a new program designed to help people who play the lottery. And it's called Play Smart. The interactive video explains the tips about odds and how lottery games work. It also breaks down superstitions and myths associated with playing. There's also information about the NC Problem Gambling Program, which provides free treatment and recovery services to anyone affected by problem gaming. You can find it all on ncplaysmart.com.
Next at noon, rocking a fire. The frightening moment a rocking chair burst into flames with a mom and a baby in it.
Also, when an oil change leads to a new car, what a customer had to endure to get rewarded in a big way.
Plus, struggle to enroll, how a North Carolina HBCU is trying to ease historically low enrollment.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.
Oh, this is so scary. Caught on camera, sparks fly from a nursery chair while a Las Vegas mother was sitting in it, rocking her baby to sleep. Victoria Saha spoke with the mother about this frightening moment and the manufacturer's reaction.
Angelica Caledo, just like most parents, rocks her baby to sleep.
And while she rocked him, she sang.
And bedtime was extra special with the help of her Baby Leto Kiwi electric recliner.
That's the chair that I fell asleep in most nights. That's the chair that he said his first word in.
So it was no surprise she would get the same chair 2 years later when she expected their second baby. She snagged a great deal on Wayfair, and just like their first chair, it became a regular part of bedtime.
I thought that I would have a similar experience with the second one, and unfortunately that wasn't the case.
In a flash, this particular bedtime routine took a turn.
I looked to see what it is because it's kind of like a cracking noise. There's a USB port right here that came with the chair, and I saw it sparking, and then it kind of shot out a flame at me.
That noise was a fire starting in her favorite chair as she had her baby in her arms.
Normally I have her in this kind of cradled position where her head is right here.
Caledo is seen struggling to get out of the recliner and quickly calls in her husband to help.
I immediately just went into a state of panic.
The fire was put out, but panic was there to stay. Caledo tells me she rewatched the incident on her nanny cam to truly understand what just happened.
I wanted to be sure that what I thought I saw is what I actually saw.
After sharing what happened on social media, the mom of two received a message from the CEO of Baby Leto.
The CEO has reached out. He has profusely apologized. They're offering me my money back.
For both chairs?
For both chairs, actually, even though I told him that I did not have a problem with my first one.
On top of an apology and a refund, the CEO also told her the company would investigate the chairs. When we reached out to the CEO, he told us the same thing, saying in part, the chair will be evaluated at an independent accredited testing lab to ensure a prompt and thorough investigation. They're also learning more about how the product was used in the home to see if there could be other causes to the issue with the USB charging port.
Wow, that was Victoria Saha reporting. There are currently no formal investigations on the chair on the Consumer Product Safety Commission's website.
Never underestimate the kindness of strangers. A New York car dealer is gifting a car to a Wisconsin woman who found a racial slur printed on her oil change sticker at her local dealership. Michaela Starks took her car into a GMC dealership in Wisconsin for an oil change, and when she got into her car, she saw a sticker with N-word printed on it, along with the phrase, "Please be sure to drive safely." A dealership in New York saw that story and decided to give Starks a new electric car, not just any vehicle.
Why don't we give her an electric car so she...
The IRS has released its list of tax scams you need to be on the lookout for this year, and they include phishing scams. That's where fraudsters pose as legitimate organizations in the tax and finance community. They use unsolicited texts and emails or calls to trick people into giving out personal and financial information. Another growing concern involves social media. The IRS says incorrect information in posts can mislead people into tax avoidance and identity theft. Coming up in our next half hour, we will talk with a local cybersecurity expert about essential steps you can take to protect your identity and keep your money safe. Meme coins, such as the one President Trump launched just before his inauguration, are collectibles, not securities under federal law. That's the announcement from the Securities and Exchange Commission. The long sought after clarification now means people who offer the digital assets do not need to register with the SEC. But that also means buyers are not protected by federal securities law.
Meta is planning to add a standalone AI app along with Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp. It's a big step forward in the company's bid to become a leader in AI by the end of this year. Meta is also planning a test of a paid subscription service for Meta AOI along the lines of what competitor OpenAI does for access to more powerful versions of its ChatGPT. And Apple is enhancing child safety features on its devices. The company is refreshing the age rating system in the App Store and improving parent setups for their child's accounts. Now parents will be able to select an age range for their child's account instead of entering a specific age. The App Store will also no longer show apps to kids if it is above their age range. Users can expect the new feature sometime this year.
Two of America's most popular game shows could soon be moving to streaming devices. Sony is shopping Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy! Sony hopes to have a deal in place in April and for streaming to start in September. About 7 million people watch the syndicated shows on television, and they generate $175 million in revenue. Broadcast syndication deals expire in 2028. Until then, the new platform will only have access to episodes the day after they air on television. Squid Game killed it in the second half of 2024. The Korean drama's second season was the most viewed Netflix series during that time. Released on December 26th, the show earned that distinction in only the 6 days left of the year. In that short window, it drew nearly 70 million more viewing hours than Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. And that was the second place show. Squid Game Season 3 is set to premiere June 27th. The creator says the third season will also be the last.
The emoji mascot for the Las Vegas Sphere now has a name. The iconic emoji known for its side eye and silly faces, it now goes by the name Orbi. It has been around for a little over a year, and the official introduction comes with the launch of a new online store for the Sphere. Fans can buy Orbi merch on the site or merch of any of the famous residencies that have left their mark on the venue.
We are following breaking news this noon. A child shot and killed another child, and we're live on that scene with what neighbors say they heard.
And retirement begins. Today, Raleigh Police Chief Estella Patterson's is her last day. A look back at some of her biggest accomplishments. And as we head to break, here are your winning lottery numbers. Good luck.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
Breaking news in Vance County, where a child has shot and killed another child. This is at Green Street and Gary Street in Henderson. WRAL's Monica Casey is live on the scene. Monica, this is so tragic. Obviously, so many questions still. What can you tell us about this investigation?
Well, we know Henderson police have been here on scene since 9:30 this morning, and since we have been here, we've seen their investigation has been centered on this house here behind me, where they say one child shot another one who lives in this home. The home is quiet now, but neighbors tell me they heard screaming and they saw a mother run out the door with a child in her arms. This is a large scene centered at the intersection of Green and Gary Streets, and police have been here for hours. That child died here on scene. The neighbors that I have spoken with are shaken and upset. They're not ready to go on camera, but they do tell me they are praying for this family. Now, police tell me they have recovered the gun in this case and other evidence. They say they have more investigating to do, including coordinating with the district attorney's office. Live in Henderson, Monica Casey, WRAL News.
This morning, the Raleigh Police Chief's tenure with the department was celebrated, and Chief Estella Patterson's retirement starts this weekend. WRAL's Chris Levigood is here now with that send-off and what's next for RPD. Chris.
Well, a private farewell celebration was held this morning around 10:30, Jeff. Chief Patterson's official last day is tomorrow. She was in charge for more than 4 years. Patterson has said that she is very proud of reducing the number of openings in the police department. When she arrived in 2021, RPD had about 150 open positions. Currently, the department has about 40 openings. Patterson says she is proud to have been able to get equipment and advocacy for Raleigh Police through starting a foundation. WRAL spoke with Patterson about her retirement, and she had these words for her successor.
You have to be community minded. You have to make sure that you embed the community in everything that you do in the police department. I will say to that person that if you have the community on your side, you're going to be able to really accomplish a lot.
We expect the Raleigh Police Department to name a new chief soon. 3 finalists were announced earlier this week. You can go to WRAL.com to read more about each of those people.
All right, thanks, Chris. Historically, black colleges and universities have been home to many young African-American men and women since the 1800s. However, these historic schools have been struggling to enroll black men, with black male enrollment at historic lows. NBC News' Zincle Esemwa shows us how North Carolina A&T is working to change that.
Shemi Bukoye knew he'd go to college, but he never planned to end up at a historically black university.
Funny enough, A&T was actually the only HBCU I applied to, and lo and behold, I'm here now. And coming to A&T, I didn't really have any guidance. I didn't really know what to get involved in or what I was meant to do or what my purpose was.
The 20-year-old is now a sophomore at North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University. Today, black male enrollment at HBCUs is at an all-time low, dropping 25% since 2010, according to the American Institute for Boys and Men.
So what does it mean that we're seeing, even still, black male enrollment decline in these spaces?
If HBCUs are a crucial ladder for upward economic mobility, and they are, we do see very good evidence that black students who attend HBCUs will get a boost.
Dr. Richard Reeves and DJ Windsor conducted that study.
There's many factors that are playing a role in this. We look at just a pathway problem with just K through 12 disparities, lack of black male teachers, and also some financial barriers. Black students are more likely to report that their finances plays a bigger role in their decision, and also some of the underfunding that HBCUs have experienced.
Across the country, schools are programming to meet the need, like at A&T.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started.
Aggie Men, or Male Empowerment Network, is a school-sponsored student group dedicated to fostering connection and support for first-year and continuing male students.
If we could help facilitate that, that would lead them to do better in the classroom.
Our illustrious barbershop is called CHOP.
This evening, they're hosting a barbershop-style salon event where guest speakers and student leaders discuss the importance of self-expression.
It felt like one of the first organization events that we had where all men felt comfortable to express themselves.
Why do you think it's important for young black men to go to college, but particularly in HBCU, and to find this kind of community?
Going back to in high school, I didn't think I was going to college. I didn't really see a reason for it. I grew up in Section 8 housing, didn't really have the money to get to college or even think of that as a option. So I can only imagine how pivotal it is for our young black males to be able to go through the same type of transformation of meeting the people that they need to meet to really further their progress in life.
While programs like Aggie Men work to bridge the gap, some experts say more institutional change is needed.
This is potentially a crisis for the country as a whole. If HBCUs can't be a place where black men want to go and do better, then that doesn't bode very well for the entire higher education system.
For students like Shemi Bukoye, Aggie Men has provided guidance, mentorship, and a model for success.
I feel like Aggie Men put me around a lot of like-minded people and people who have been here before me, so they're able to show me what their mistakes was and what worked for them, and having that guidance has allowed me to be successful.
And that was Zincle Esemwa reporting. And while HBCUs are working to increase enrollment, the Trump administration is stepping up efforts to diversity, equity, and inclusion in schools. The administration launched a federal tip portal to report perceived acts of discrimination in public schools. The site reads, schools should be focused on learning, free of divisive ideologies and indoctrination. Parents, educators, and students can submit the name of a school or school district and detail the practices they deem concerning.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, 2 schools in Carteret County were placed on lockdown, but a juvenile is in custody this noon hour as a result of what turned out to be a false threat. The lockdowns happened at West Carteret County High School and Morehead City Middle School. Morehead City police say they had a report of some type of social media threat. Now, officers arrived, that armed juvenile tried to get away in a stolen vehicle, but was eventually caught. Parents were notified. The school day continued. This is an ongoing investigation. We'll continue to have more information about this and have more on our news starting at 4.
Federal workforce layoffs continue as hundreds of staffers at a federally run National Weather Service were let go. The reasoning the Trump administration gave.
And golfers at the PGA National in Palm Beach Gardens were chasing more than just golf balls. Hear from one golfer who had to chase away a gator. And you can watch WRAL News live anytime on WRAL.com or the WRAL app on your streaming device.
Just perfect blue skies right there above Pinehurst Resort and Country Club as you look live and watch WRAL News, available on Spectrum and the WRAL app on your TV or streaming device.
Hundreds of employees at the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration are losing their jobs under the latest cuts by the Trump administration. A letter to terminated workers read, the agency finds you are not fit for continued employment because your ability, knowledge, and/or skills do not fit the agency's current needs. According to the National Weather Service, the layoffs would further cripple America's ability to accurately forecast hurricanes, tornadoes, and other costly, deadly extreme weather. And a federal judge has temporarily blocked the Trump administration's mass firings of probationary federal workers. The ruling states that the terminations were likely unlawful. The lawsuit filed on behalf of federal workers argues the Office of Personnel Management falsely claimed the employees were fired for performance reasons. Lawyers for the Trump administration argue the agency did not order the firings, but rather a review process.
An alligator walks onto a golf course and a guy with a golf club. It's just not the start of a joke. This is the actual story. Watch. It happened yesterday in Florida, the PGA National in Palm Beach Gardens. That's Billy Horschel with the club. He had just finished playing the 6th hole, and he saw that gator crawling onto the fairway there. A police officer was trying to shoo it away. No success with that. And Horschel just walked up to it, used his wedge to poke that thing back into the water.
I grew up with my dad, grabbing their tail when they're on the side of the bank, and, shooting them back in the water. So I've never touched the tail with my hand, but I've done it with a club.
Wow, yeah. The whole exchange lasted about 6 seconds. The gator just kind of made its way back to the water there, and play continued with no additional interruptions. He grew up in Florida. He was comfortable with that, but unless I knew when his last meal was,
I know, that's a brave golfer.
Not messing with it.
Yeah. All right, coming up, tips for tax season. Cyber criminals go to great lengths to commit fraud at this time of year. We'll talk to a cybersecurity expert after the break about how ways you can protect your identity.
And it is the new NFL. Fans will notice changes when the new season kicks off. Coming up, how technology could help speed up the game.
Tax season is prime time for cyber criminals looking to steal your refund by filing fraudulent returns in your name. Kimberly Simon, CEO of Secure Network Administration, she is here with us this afternoon to reveal how these scams work and share essential steps to protect your identity and keep your money safe. Kimberly, thank you for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. Okay, so let's start with this. How does tax identity theft work?
Great question. So the North Carolina Department of Revenue is actively working to combat tax fraud. They assessed an additional $134 million at least in taxes due to fraudulent activity. So we should all know what tax fraud is and what we should be doing to protect ourselves. What it is that cyber criminals obtain your personal information. So things like your social security number, your ID number, your full name, whatever they need to create your profile. They collect that information through data breaches, phishing emails, and stolen mail. Once they have your information, they file taxes in your name. The idea is to claim your tax refund before you do. So that's how tax fraud works.
Oh my goodness. And there are 3 ways that you can protect yourself from this, right?
Yes, let's get into it.
Okay, let's do it.
Well, the first one's very easy. File early. Submit your tax return as early as possible. That can help you beat cyber criminals who are trying to file taxes in your name before you do.
Amazing. And then safeguarding your personal information, what does that mean?
Great. The second thing is to safeguard your personal information. So keep your social security number private, use stronger passwords, and shred sensitive documentation.
And what is an IRS identity protection PIN? What is that?
Great. The IRS identity protection PIN, also known as the IP PIN, is a 6-digit code that you simply request. And what it does is that it gives you an extra layer of protection, because even if your social security number, for example, is compromised, no one can file taxes in your name without that IP PIN. Yes.
That's awesome.
And it's great because it changes every year. So once you use one this year, you can't use it again next year.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Kimberly Simon, CEO of Secure Network Administration, thank you so much for being with us this afternoon. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Sure. Jeff?
Got to get busy on it. I might be behind already. Let's get out to the patio right now. Elizabeth Gardner on the WRAL weather patio, taking in some of the sunshine today. Going to be a great afternoon.
So nice out here. Now, I know you see me in this jacket. It's a fairly thin jacket, and this is kind of a short sleeve dress, so it might be overkill for a lot of you, but temperatures are cool. We're in the upper 50s right now. We take a live look at Fayetteville, Raleigh, Apex, Chapel Hill. Just sunshine as far as the eye can see. There's some cloud cover out there, but, you know, we're going to see mostly sunny to partly cloudy skies for today, tomorrow, really all the way up until Wednesday. And Wednesday is what we're here to talk about right now. Chapel Hill's courtesy of Top of the Hill Restaurant. Our next weather maker arrives on Wednesday, and as early as yesterday, the Storm Prediction Center was already taking a look at this front, which really part of the system hasn't really formed yet. They've already identified this one as one to watch in terms of severe storms. So this could be our first big front, our first big chance for some severe weather as we really get into severe weather season. Our severe weather season is typically March, April, and May, and you know, March is here starting tomorrow. So the threat for strong storms along this front, gusty winds and heavy rain would most likely be our largest threat, and we'll turn a bit colder behind the front. Let's walk through it. This is a look at Futurecast. That's 9 a.m., 10 a.m. Right around 5 or 6 o'clock, we start to see that line of thunderstorms moving through, and it's out of here around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, that is just an initial look at the timeline for that. Obviously, you want to keep tuning in. This is Friday, and that's Wednesday, so we'll be able to really fine-tune that timeline as we get closer to Wednesday. But here's a look at where the Storm Prediction Center has highlighted that we could end up with some strong to severe thunderstorms, and that's really all up and down the East Coast from Florida all the way up to Virginia. So we have moisture, we have lift. Will we have enough shear and energy for this to develop? Well, we'll know that over the next few days as we continue to watch the system developing. Now, tornadoes, of course, are something that we tend to see this time of year. As a matter of fact, we, for the month of March, typically average 2. Now, if you look ahead to April and May, it's a bit more. April is the month that we tend to see the most tornadoes in Raleigh, and it's an average of 6 per year, and then 5 per year in May. Now, if you look down the line, you can see that 5 for September. That's, of course, associated with tropical systems. We have a lot of tropical systems that come through in the fall, and we do tend to see tornadoes with those as well. So not so much this month, but definitely April and May tend to be some of our highest tornado months. Okay, how much rainfall could we see out of this? Futurecast bumped this up with a new run. So, you know, maybe an inch to an inch and a half is what it's looking like. It is the only chance for rain that we have in the next 7 days. Taking a look at the weekend, looks great, but it's going to be really an interesting weekend. Temperatures very warm tomorrow with mid-70s. And then on Sunday, upper 40s. So keep that in mind as you're making your weekend plan. Enjoy the pretty weather. It's going to be a really cold start on Monday, and then we will have our eyes on Wednesday as it gets closer.
Elizabeth, thank you. Mystery solved. Most bears would happily munch on fish and other meats. Now scientists say they've discovered why pandas love bamboo. We wrap things up with a look at a few of the headlines we're following for you today. And it's breaking news out of Henderson we're following. Police say a child shot and killed another child. Sky 5 flew over that scene not too long ago on Gray Street. Police say around 9:30 this morning, a child got a hold of an unsecured firearm and discharged that weapon, hitting another child. We will continue to follow this story and bring you updates during our evening news starting at 4 o'clock.
And two men accused of kidnapping a Harnett County 15-year-old appeared in court for the first time this morning. Austin Cole and Elihu Mahler face a list of charges connected to an Amber Alert. Officials say Mahler picked up the girl and took her to Virginia Beach before returning to North Carolina with her. They say the plan was to hand her over to Cole and Kitty Hawk with plans to engage in sex. Each suspect's bond was increased to $5 million.
Raleigh Police Chief's time with the department is coming to an end. Chief Estella Patterson begins retirement this weekend. This morning, a private farewell celebration was held for her after more than 4 years as chief. Chief Patterson's official last day is tomorrow, and we expect the Raleigh Police Department to name a new chief soon.
The road to the Stanley Cup is coming to your living room, and you can watch it live right here on WRAL. Watch the Canes and newly acquired superstar Mikko Rantanen battle it out with the Boston Bruins, who are fighting for a playoff spot in the East. You can watch the game next Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on WRAL.
The NFL is planning to replace first down field markers with an electronic system. The camera technology is already in every NFL stadium and has been tested, and implementing the system doesn't require an approval vote from team owners. The chain crews will still be on the backup just in case. The new system will reduce the time needed to determine a first down from 75 seconds down to about 30 seconds.
All right, well, pandas have similar digestive systems to other bears, so why do pandas tend to stick to bamboo? Scientists in China say the answer lies in the bamboo itself. As pandas eat the plant, they absorb genetic material from it called microRNA, which influences their sense of smell, taste, and dopamine pathways. In short, it makes it easier for them to find the freshest and most nutritious bamboo. So cute.
Maybe we should try it. I don't know. Our pet of the day comes to us from the SPCA of Wake County. Peter is a 3-year-old neutered male, weighs in at 48 pounds. He's friendly and energetic, loves his quality time with people. Peter has lived with other dogs before and might enjoy having another dog in the home. If you have a cat in the house, you may want to try the pet sleepover trial adoption option to see how he fits in with your family. For more information, you can visit spcawake.org.
Well, stopping the spread, North Carolina farmers combating the bird flu. Coming up tonight on WRAL News at 4, the steps they're taking to prevent any transmission.
Meantime, let's get this Friday on the road here. NBC News Daily is up next on WRAL, your next local news update in 30 minutes.
And you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great day and a great weekend.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.